Morning everyone, Bobby Freeman here, welcome back, and today I bring you news of a lady who has dropped her phone down a long drop toilet, climbed in to get it, got stuck and had to call the fire department to come and get her out again. Boom, and we're off. So let me give you some of the details here. We've got Brinnan Fire Department Chief Tim Manley, which seems a very apt name for a bloke who's in charge of the firefighters. Morning, I'm here for the Chief of Fire Department job. Okay, fine, just take a seat. Look, I must warn you before we start, we're looking for a very, very manly person to do this job. Do you think you're manly enough? Yeah, I think so. How manly are you then? Well, my surname's Manley. Congratulations, you've got the job. Manley then goes on to say that she disassembled the toilet seat and used dog leashes to try and get the phone. Now, straight away, how would a dog leash enable you to get a phone? Your phone's dropped down a toilet shaft. How was a dog leash? It hasn't got a hook. It's floppy. It's flexible. It was a bad idea, which she eventually agreed with because after a while she decided to. Well, actually, to be fair, that was a bad idea. She then employed an even worse idea, and that was to try and get down the toilet, but she tethered herself with one of the leashes. Well, I suppose that's a slightly better idea. If you're going to go down a toilet, at least she thought to tether herself to something. However, rather surprisingly, this effort failed, and she fell into the toilet head first. And it says she was alone here and she struggled to get out for 10 to 15 minutes. Now, for me, that's something, there's a red flag there, because how can she be alone if she's got the dog with her? I'm kind of thinking, if the dog, surely, if this is the one situation where a dog can actually prove itself useful rather than just being walked and fed all the time, why didn't the dog help out? Where was the dog? Actually, to be fair, she probably locked the door. No, because why wasn't the dog tethered in that case? Why did she have the leash with her? I don't know. Anyway, that's besides the point. The point is here, she struggled for 10 to 15 minutes. And that's, let's face it, 10 to 15 minutes is a long time. Just even when you're just waiting for a bus, for example, let alone head first in piss and shit. However, the little bit of irony in the story and the beauty of it is, at least the one good thing, she'd actually got to her phone by this point. She was able to use the phone, albeit covered in shit, but to be fair, she was probably even more covered, so it doesn't really matter that much, was able to call 911. So she called the fire brigade, and apparently responding firefighters passed her blocks to stand on to reach a harness which they used to pull her out of the vault. Now, I've misunderstood this because I thought it was like sort of a composting toilet, because I've seen these ones in America that in the middle of the national parks. It's like sort of a toilet seat, and below it is like a long drop into a load of like sawdust and stuff, and it can be quite deep, at about 6 feet deep. So I thought she'd gone head first and kind of got stuck like this, literally head first down like that and got stuck in it. But it sounds to me like she's dropped all the way through a tunnel into like a cave full of well, shit, which I suppose it's the lesser of two evils, certainly, but slightly better. I think I'd rather be in a cave full of human defecation, but stood upright, oh God, or maybe swimming around, than stuck upside down head first in one of those compost things. In which case, I think I'd probably pull myself out. Either way, it's a pretty, if you'll pardon the pun, a pretty shit situation. And then good old Manley signs off on this story by saying, I've been doing this for 40 years, and that was a first. Now then, what annoys me about these situations is, why do people call the firefighters when they get themselves in a stupid situation, like when they get stuck down a hole or something? I mean, the clue's in the name, all right? The firefighters. They're not the stuck down a hole fighters or your cat stuck up a tree fighters. They're firefighters. Honestly, I don't know why they've had to kind of diversify into all these other areas. I'll tell you one thing. If I worked in the fire department, the conversation would go a little bit like this. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, fire department. Hello, yes. Look, I've got myself in a situation. I've dropped the phone down the toilet, went down to get it, and now I'm stuck. Can you come and get me out, please? Right. Okay. Quick question. Is the toilet on fire? So, well, no. It's not on fire. I'm just kind of stuck down there, and I need to get out. Okay. Are you on fire? No. Okay, well, if the toilet does catch fire, we'll be right with you. But until then, stop wasting my f***ing time. So I suppose the lesson we take from this, well, not the lesson, well, I suppose there is a lesson, really. It's a lesson, I suppose, if anything, would be when you're on a long drop toilet, don't be using your phone. But the way I see this is kind of a sort of a wake-up call to the kind of the world we're living in, where phones, this little bit of plastic and glass, which is probably insured and all backed up on the cloud, is so important to people that some people are willing to crawl into a toilet, into a chasm full of other people's piss and shit to get it back rather than just claim on their insurance. And also, of course, that dogs are never there when you truly need them. Right, next up we are back in America, this time in Florida, where a man has been arrested for allegedly stealing a crossbow and stuffing it down the front of his trousers. Right, so straight away, to me, I'm thinking to myself, how desperate have you got to be? Because surely stealing is an act of desperation. You've got no other choice and you really need something. And surely the question here is, who really needs a crossbow? I mean, sure, you might want one, but you definitely don't need it. I would describe a crossbow as a luxury item. But anyway, this guy, for whatever reason, has decided he needs a crossbow really badly, and he's going to do anything to get it, and that includes stealing it. But also, I'm kind of thinking to myself, why? Surely out of all the weapons you could steal, but by the way, I'm not recommending you steal anything at all. Do not be stealing anything, most definitely not a weapon. But surely would have been, if you were so to the point where you are going to steal a weapon, I feel I'm digging myself into a dangerous hole here. But if you were so minded, as this gentleman particularly was, surely that's the most difficult weapon of all of them to steal and then conceal about your person, in your trousers or otherwise. Anyway, never mind, let's put that to the side for 1 minute. The 46-year-old can be seen walking into the shop with a crutch. Right, okay, so already he's struggling, he's in a bad position. He's got a crutch. It will be difficult enough stealing a crossbow anyway, let alone on a crutch. So now he's trying to do it one-handed. I'm actually quite impressed. Can be seen walking into the shop with a crutch before taking a pair of cutting tools and removing the security tag on a Raven Rio crossbow. Okay, a few things here. Again, he's got a crutch, now he's got cutting tools, so it sounds to me like his hand's full already. How's he stealing this thing, with his mouth? And secondly, of course, what a name for a crossbow, the Raven Rio. I tell you what, I'll run a competition now. If you can think of a better name for a crossbow, put it in the section below, and if you win, I will send you absolutely nothing but my respect. He can then be seen shoving the weapon down the front of his trousers before walking out. And there's actually a video of this. You can go on the website and have a look. And he's literally walking, well, as you'd imagine, he's got quite the limp going on. It's quite a theatrical sort of amateur dramatic style limp. And yeah, to me, I'm no expert, but even if I didn't know he was stealing a crossbow, but one look at him, I could tell he was stealing a crossbow. However, amazingly, he made it out of the shop, so no one spotted him. No one spotted him with this crossbow down his trousers, walking out with a ridiculous pronounced limp. But apparently he was arrested a few days later in a car park of a nearby store. Which means, of course, he was walking around for several days with a stolen crossbow. And I'll be honest, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he's probably not the most responsible crossbow owner. But I think as well, for me, the crux of the issue here is the crossbow itself. I mean, I just don't understand why crossbows exist. They look extraordinarily dangerous. I'm sure they're good fun to fire and everything, but to me, it's kind of a confused weapon. It's a weapon with identity issues. It doesn't know what it identifies as. It doesn't know if it identifies as a gun or a bow and arrow. It must wake up one day and just go, no, you know what? I'm a gun. I'm definitely a gun. I've got a trigger. I am a gun. Although on the other hand, I do kind of fire arrows. They're technically called bolts, but you know what I mean. I do fire them. I'm a bow and arrow. I'm a bow and arrow. I'm a bow and arrow, and that is final. Well, hang on though. I've got a stock which fits into your shoulder like that. No, I'm definitely a gun. But I do have a string that you have to pull back. So no, I'm a bow and arrow. Gun. Bow and arrow. Gun. Bow and arrow. No gun. No bow and arrow. No gun. I don't know what I am. I just like to shoot things. So then, I suppose I'm thinking to myself, what's the moral of this story? What can be learnt here? I suppose, number one, if you're going to be a purveyor of weapons, particularly, namely crossbows, I would probably keep them behind the counter rather than just on display for anyone to walk in and steal down the trousers. And secondly, if you are the sort of person that feels like you want to go out and steal a crossbow from a shop and put it down your trousers, maybe there's a chance you're not the type of person who can be trusted to actually own a crossbow. So guys, I hope you've all enjoyed this video. If indeed you have, don't forget to smash my like button and my subscribe button, and I will see you all next time.